Okay, welcome to Pneumis Satire Parshas Yisro. This week's parsha starts off with Yisro coming to visit Moshe Rabbeinu, and Shalom Yisro came before Matan Torah, after Matan Torah. But in the state of our parsha, we have by Revi. The parsha starts off with Kol Sabrakim, Har Sinai, and ultimately the Seres HaDibros in the Aliyah of Shishi. So let's talk a little bit about Yisro and the Shem Shmuel, and maybe we'll get to in the Matan Torah. The Shem Shmuel is Medayik Azeh. Yisro is coming towards Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu goes out to greet Yisro, and here we have some sort of very big event going on. There's like a colliding of two worlds. Yisro, who was Kai Midjan, who was he was what was called he was like the head of all the
Pope.
He was like the head of all the Kaimrim, and he was a Rosh of all the Klipa, and now Moshe Rabbeinu is the Mamash, the Rosh of all Kedusha, and here they are meeting, and there's this huge, called Kiddush Shem Shemaim, where someone, the personality like Yisro, who is so totally embedded and so part and parcel, literally the Rosh of all the tum of the world, is coming in and being David B'Kedusha, which is from the greatest tikkunim. So Shem Shmuel's Medayik, just interesting ideas, is that Yisro has Zayin Shemos and Moshe Rabbeinu has Zayin Shemos. They both have 7 names. And he says, what's the meaning of 7 names? He says, because in as much as that we know there are 7 midos, right? There's 7 main midos that we refer to as the midos hapoyales. These are the ones in the Olam HaMaisa. You have 3 midos on top of them. The Chachma Bin and Das. But basically, you have Zayin midos. So Yisro, in as much as he was the Rosh of all the Tumah, or the Rosh of the Klipa, so just like in Kedusha we have Zayin midos of Kedusha, in Tumah we have 7 midas of Tumah, and therefore Yisro, for every midah that he represented as a Rosh for that midah of Tumah, right? He had another name. Midachis, so Moshe Rabbeinu, he's the Rosh of all midas of Kedusha. Moshe Rabbeinu has 7 names. Every name, not just Amik has 7 names, but every name corresponds to a specific midah that Moshe Rabbeinu is Rosh. So it would be interesting maybe to do a study of to align the 7 midas Chesed, Gvur, Tiferet, Netzach, Yisod, Malchus with Moshe Rabbeinu's names, and to see which names align with what. So he says that for this reason, due to the fact that Moshe was so unique and Yisro was so unique, right? This would explain why Moshe Rabbeinu had to marry Bnei Yisro, because Moshe Rabbeinu, who is someone that is a klalistic person, he had to find someone who had the same power, the same koyach as being a klalius, and maybe that's why Bnei Yisro were most appropriate for Moshe Rabbeinu. So he says with this, he says we can be masber, with this idea of how the 7 midas of Yisro of Tumah corresponded to the 7 midas of Moshe Rabbeinu in Kedusha, and at this meeting, what happened was there was a complete turnaround. Right, the Zayin midas of Yisro flipped from Tumah to Kedusha. So he says, with this we can be ashev the following question. Right, the pasuk refers to Yisro as Chayshon Moshe. It's Moshe Rabbeinu's father-in-law. So he brings down from his father, the Abnei Nezer, asks the question: how does the Torah refer to Yisro as his father-in-law? Yisro was a ger now; he's come to be Megayer, right? A gersh in his guy is kikach another dummy. So there's no korban. All previous relations are off the table. So he says. So what's Takal Pshat? So he says, what's normally a ger? And a ger is normally he's a person. He's embedded in whatever he's embedded in the Olam HaTumah as a non-yid. He has to drop everything that he had, and he has to now be born again, right? So first he has to die, right? He has to leave behind everything, and then he rebuilds brand new. So he's Kikan Shnei Dami. He says the side of Yisro was, right, is he took his mahus of being a klalistic person that was kaila all Zayin Midas, and he just flipped it around. Right, he didn't have to get rid of it. He took his kaiches of klalius of someone that would that Kilu will say, how are we going to say in the world of Pshat will say he was talented in all in 7 different ways. He had seven talents, whatever. But what it means is on a ruchnistic level, he was connected. He was in the Neshama Gevaya that was connected in a kalistic way to all Zayin Midas, and male his gerus. His gerus wasn't that he had to leave behind Adarabah. The mile of Yisro's gerus is that he was able to be mahapich everything he had likadusha. So he says this isn't a kikat shnei l'dami. This is just refurbishing, right, everything that he has, or redetermining, repositioning all the midas that he has. So Mela, he's not your typical ger. He says using this pshat. This idea, he wants to apply this idea, has to do with Shabbos Kodesh, right? Which is also Shabbos Kodesh, Yom Shvi, right? We deal with and it's a klali, it's kol everything, right? So Shabbos Kodesh is we describe Yisro is kol all 7 midas. The Moshe Rabbeinu is kol all 7 midas. The Shabbos, the 7th day of the week, is kol all the days of the week. So Shabbos is also a day that's kol everything. So he says like this, that normally when a person has to be misaking themselves, they have to be like a ger, right? Because what do you have to do? You didn't have error, so the avodah, a typical tshuva is you have to let it go. You have to totally be mischaret. You have to mourn on your past and rebuild on the future. He says there's a tshuva of Shabbos Kodesh, right? Shabbos, is the day of tshuva. Shabbos by Tashav is Rosh Hashanah. Shabbos, right? Shabbos is the day of tshuva. He says the tshuva of Shabbos is that it takes all the kishrim, all the effort, all the asiyah of the week, and it just lifts it up as is, and it's mahapachet to kedusha. So he says that this is how Shabbos Kodesh works, right? It's a klolistic tshuva that, like we spoke about many times in the past. The Shabbos, the Indian of aliyos or lames, right? Everything in the world that existed in Chol just goes up and it's napach lekedusha. So it's not that new. It's not that you purge the old and you start rebuilding from new. Shabbos Kodesh has the ability of just lifting everything up and be mahapach lekedusha. So he says that's the pchir of Shabbos Kodesh. He says with this he's miyashav the pasuk in the Aseret Zebris, right? Where it says Zach Hashem Shabbos Akashay. So everyone asks, right? Zach Hashem Shabbos Akashay. Keep Shabbos. Why take a step back? Oh, work 6 days, right? We shouldn't care what you do 6 days. No mitzvah work 6 days, right? Zachzem Shabbos Kacha means Shabbos has its own special dinim. Why does the Torah specify Sheishem Tav V'Sizkom Lachtecha? So he says this is a pshat. The Torah is speaking out that what is Shabbos Kodesh, Zachzem Shabbos Kacha is when you do Sheishem Tav V'Sizkom Lachtecha, all that the avodah of Chol gets lifted up on Shabbos. So we're speaking out that the avodah of Chol is very negeh Shabbos. Because all that avodah of Chol, which is Chol and has in its chesroinus and has in its non-kedusha aspect to it, on Shabbos it all gets lifted up to the bechin of Shabbos Kodesh, to be nichlal in Shabbos Kodesh. So that's how he's masber the pasuk of Sheisham Tav V'Sizkom Lachtecha, and all those 6 days of Malach are going to be upgraded on Shabbos to be nichlal in kedusha.
That be the same as there is Nasa like the Zachis?
It could be that, yeah. Could be that, yeah. That would be a decent sushtel. Surprise. Right? That the idea is right. When you upgrade the kaiches that you put into the aveira, and you upgrade and you mahapach it to kedusha. So then that would be that would probably be a decent sushtel. Just interesting. We said it from the fine sushtel, super fine. The amazing. That was an amazing sushtel. We said over today for the Vilna Gaon says a nice pshat in Mimiyash's kasha. And why is the Torah introducing Shabbos with this Sheish Yom Tavis? He says as follows. The halacha is, the Gemara Shabbos says, if a person doesn't know, he's in a midbar, he doesn't know what day Shabbos is. Right? So what does he do? He counts six and he keeps 7. Okay, so every seventh day on his cheshbon he's going to make kiddush and he'll daven tefillas the Shabbos. Right? But what does he do as far as malacha? Right? So the Gemara says that what he does is, the Gemara has a havamina that every day he does whatever he needs to survive. Erev Shabbos he does double the work in order that he doesn't have to work on Shabbos. Okay? In fact, the Gemara, he doesn't know what day Shabbos is. So if he's doing double the work on Friday,
maybe you're working on Shabbos.
Maybe he's working on Shabbos, right? So the Gemara, what does he do? Every day he does whatever he needs. Kedei chayv pikuach nefesh. Every day you choshes Shabbos, you can do pikuach nefesh. And so even a Shabbos is pikuach nefesh. But you're not going to do any day more than you need for pikuach nefesh because maybe every day is Shabbos. Okay. So it comes out that the whole week you can only do mamash kedei chayv. You can only do for pikuach nefesh. You can't actually do anything, any real work. So he says that's found in the Torah. Zachas yom Shabbos akache. You have to keep track of what day Shabbos, right? Because when you know which day Shabbos, it's Sheish Yom Tavis, he's a Kom Lachtecha. You could do, yes, because he's a Kom Lachtecha. Because he's a Malachtecha. Because he's a Malacha. What's Kom Lachtecha? He says, when you know what day Shabbos, then the 6 days a week, you can do all the Malacha you want to do. Right? You don't have to just work and do Pikuach Nefesh and take a Malacha. You can do all your Malacha because you know it's Chol. Masha Ein Kain, it's coming to speak out. If you forget the Cheshbon of Shabbos, even the 6 days of the week you can't do Kol Malachtecha because every day you have to Chesh Shabbos. You're only going to be able to do whatever you need to get by Midin Pikuach Nefesh because every day is a Safek Shabbos. That's what I'm going to teach us up. Sheish Yom Tavis is Kol Malachtecha only when you know which day is Shabbos. If I bet you don't know which day is Shabbos, then Sheish Yom you can't be Tavis because he's Kol Malachtecha. You can only do Pikuach Nefesh to Kavayim. That is a little bit about Yisro and the Klolius of Yisro. She speaks out of here a shtickle that he says an interesting thing. The Yisro he says is very Klolius. So when the Gemara says Yishma Yisro Mashmu Shamu Ba, and the Medrash brings down 3 shitas. Mechamas Hamalek. Rabbi Shua says Mechamas Hamalek. Rabbi Lezer HaMoidai says Mount Torah. Rabbi Eliezer says Kriyas Yamsuf. So he wants to be Mazer. What's Pshat Mashmu Shamu Ba? What do you mean? He heard all sorts of things. He heard the Makkah. There's many things. Right? What is it that we're looking for something specific when we argue? Was it this specific one? Was it this specific one? The whole story inspired him, right? So he says that this is the pshat, that in as much as Yisro is a klolistic mensch, what's going to be mahapachim in a klolistic way has to be something very klolius. And we're trying to pinpoint what is the klolistic. There's a lot of pratim that went on when the Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim. But what is the klolistic thing that's kol everything that has an ability to affect a klolistic a person like Yisro? So he says that each man number is trying to pick the individual thing that represents everything, and each one, he says, on its level is a klolistic, and he says like this. Just interesting. He introduces right. He said, I'm saying with a lot of trepidation, right, that Mechemes Hamalek is Bekeser, because Amalek is Reishis Gaim Amalek. And we know that Amalek, we're mechaben to eradicate Amalek in the bracha of Lamashinim, right? And the nikud of bracha ta Hashem Sheva Machnias Eidim is a comet which is bekeser. So Amalek corresponds to keser, which is obviously very kloliistic. Meaning when you're getting klolius, right, you're gonna have to get above the Zayin Yimei Binyan to Chabad or Keser Chachma Bin and Das. This is above that. This is what's Kail Ol Zayin Yimei Binyan. So mainly each one is picking one of the happenings that corresponds to the Gimel Rishonis. So he says the Mechamas Hamalek, that's Rabbi Yeshua picks. This is connected Keser. So mainly Keser is everything, right? This must be the most klolistic thing that affected him. he also says Amalek happens to be the Rosh of all the Rishis going Amalek. Amalek is the Rosh of all Tumah. So Mela, when he saw Amalek, being overtaken, so this affected him in a cloistic way. He says that Matan Torah is obviously Chachma, and Kriyas Yamsuf is Bina. So each one is picking out one of the Klolistika Midas, which is again the Chachma, Bina Das, which are the Klolistika Midas, which are all the Zion that are beneath it. They're picking that out as the Shmua that Yisro saw as a Klolistika Shmiya that affect him in a total way. Just looking at Gedaliah Shor over here, Parshas Yisro. He's really being masber. What is going on? What is Matan Torah? What is this Inyan of? What is the deeper understanding, more pneumistic understanding of Kabbalah Satira? And it's basically what he's describing is that Kabbalah Satira is not just being Mekabel a rule book, a guidebook, but Kabbalah. The Indian of Kabbalah Satira is being Mekabel Torah in an oifen of recognizing that this is Kiyem Chayena. Okay, that's the idea of the whole parsha of Kabbalah Satira. Klal Yisrael is being given Torah in a way to recognize that this is in Gansen, our in Gansen Archias. And with this is Masber, we spoke this Alex Shua's time, and we maybe mentioned Yisro, is that the pshat that in Matan Torah, that through the Torah itself, Klal Yisrael got the Chias, right? Hashem says the first Dibra, and what happens? Klal Yisrael dies, right? How do they come back alive? Right, the Tav Tchias Mason. What is Tav Tchias Mason? The Torah itself, right? So what's happening in Matan Torah is not just giving over to Klal Yisrael as they were. You're a person that you're a person that has a whole life, and here's something that now you need to spend 20 minutes a day, half hour a day, an hour a day on Torah. On top of add this into your schedule, but rather there's this transformation going on over here. That Klal Yisrael they become, the whole chiyus comes from Torah. They recognize that the whole chiyus, that every breath of theirs is always going to be with a connection to Torah. And the moment a person loses his connection to Torah, he loses his life. He loses his chiyus. This is the message of Matan Torah. And this connection of Torah is a connection not only of what does it mean the chiyus. It means that everything we do, we recognize it's affecting our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's what Torah is. Torah shows us that everything that we do, just every breath we take, every movement that we make, has an ability to affect our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if it's positive movement, it affects it positively. If it's negative, it affects it negatively. And our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our chiyus. That's our life. He says that together with Torah comes obviously madregas that we can't understand. They're madregas that lifts us up lamala for the greater than malachim. Okay, we don't picture when we sit down and become greater than malachim, but with Torah, learning Torah b'derech pshat naturally lifts us up to madregas much higher than malachim. And he speaks out as follows. Right, the Moshe Rabbeinu comes up to Shemaim, and the Malachim ask, "What are you doing here?" He's here for the Torah. They said, "Give us the Torah." Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Torah is obviously very gashmis, right?" He tells him, it says, "Were you in Mitzrayim?" No, so it's not for you. So what were Malachim thinking? So he brings down from the Radvaz. Radvaz says the Malachim obviously understood what it said in Torah B'derech Pshat, but the Malachim said, "Tna hoitcha ala Shemayim." Right? The hoitcha of Torah is the chelik of Torah of Pnimius HaTorah or Soidus HaTorah. It's connections that are merumas in Torah that are such high madregas they bems have no shaychus to Basav Adam. and they're making very good time. Good, let them have Torah, feed their madrega. But the height of Torah, right? This is something that is so halig that you can give to Bas V'Dam, right? At the end of the day, what happened? Moshe Rabbeinu, he overcame their taina, and not only did he take the Torah of Pshat, he took the Torah of height, right? And the Tali Zebazeh. And Moshe Rabbeinu took the Torah, he took it with everything. And how does it work? The way it works is a Yid puts his head down, is humble, he keeps the Torah, to the best of his ability. And little does he know, this is his staircase to the height of Torah. Okay, there's something that is amazingly halig that is being built in a Yid, and the height of Torah is actually coming out. You may not appreciate it, but a Yid's neshama is being built. It's being I don't know, made more halig and more halig through the Torah learning b'derech pshat. And he says this is by doing things b'derech pshat. He says this is what Klal Yisrael said, Na'aseh v'nishma, right? That there are tremendous madrigas of Havana and connection to Kadosh Baruch Hu, but it only comes through Asiyah. A Yid connects the Torah b'derech pshat, and even though there's no way you could understand, just like the way the Malachim couldn't understand, you're going to put on tzitzis, and you're going to build a palace in Shemaim with the tzitzis. Malachim couldn't understand that the mitzvah tzitzis that you're going to put on your bag it has any shaykhs to the tremendous kiddush Shem Shemaim that happens in the Olam Yisrael Yonim. But this is what Moshe Rabbeinu brought down with the mitzvahs, and a person has to recognize that when every mitzvah he does, every Averi he avoids, and every effort he puts into learning another line of Torah. This is b'derech pshat. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's understanding Torah. He's wearing tzitzis. He's putting on his tefillin. But the height of Torah is also being connected to him at this point. And this is what Matan Torah is. Matan Torah is that Klal Yisrael's Yisim Li Segula we call Amim is something which we refer to as Segulas. Right? Segulas is treasures that come down to Klal Yisrael that are well above anything we can imagine in the Olam Apshat. If you're not going to be zeicha to have the siyata d'shmaya, to really have the emunah that everything that we're doing is affecting us in such tremendous types of ways. I'll just say one remiss from the Imrei Noam, that the pasuk says that Hine anochi ba elecha ba'av ha'anon. Right, I'm going to come to you ba'av ha'anon with the av, with the thickness of the cloud. So he says that we're supposed to live with Aseres HaDibros every day. Where do we live with Aseres HaDibros every day? So many places where we're supposed to think about Aseres HaDibros, but one of the places where we're supposed to mecham to Aseres HaDibros is in Kriya Shema. If you open up a good siddur, you'll find where it's printed in Kriya Shema. That's where it's murmurs in Kriya Shema. That's Aseres HaDibros. For instance, on the pasuk like Zirach Le'Levacha B'Achrei Nechem, it says Le'Sinaf. So he says that the Kriya Shema has in it, Parshas Shema has in it 48 letters. Parshas Vayim Shemaya has in it 122 letters. So together that is Kuf Ayin Tevin, 170 letters, which is the Gematria Anam. Parshas Vayomer with the extra 3 words that the Shliach Tzibur adds has 72 letters, right? So he says Hine Anochi Ba Elecha. Right, this bechin of Matan Torah and a reminder that Aseres HaDibros comes to you twice a day. Ba'av ha'anon. When you say Kriya Shema, right, the first 2 parshas Gematria are anon words, and the last parsha Vayomer has in the ayin beis words. This is the time to mechav in your connection to Aseres HaDibros, and every day feel this Hine Anochi Ba Elecha Ba'av ha'anon. Okay.